What do you do when your entire world falls apart? When you lose the person you love most, feel your dreams slipping away, and find yourself in the darkest depths of grief? If you've ever wondered how to go ahead after life shatters your heart, today's video might just be for you. I'm sharing the raw, unfiltered truths I discovered as my world collapsed, and how anyone, no matter how lost, can muster the courage to go ahead step by step. You're watching the Growth Mindset Project. If this resonates with you, or you want to join a community focused on transformation, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss a new video. Let me be completely honest. The past few years have been the hardest of my life. After dedicating my entire adulthood to a project I loved, losing relationships, and most painfully, watching my mother fight and eventually lose her battle to illness, I wasn't sure how to go ahead at all. Every morning felt heavier. Every laugh felt forced. And hope, it seemed out of reach. But amidst the chaos and heartbreak, life handed me a series of deeply uncomfortable lessons, 7 in particular, that showed me how to go ahead, even when every instinct told me to stop. The first truth is that life isn't fair, not even close. As much as I wished otherwise, accepting this was the very first step on the path forward. My mother was the purest soul I knew, so seeing her get sick shook my belief in any rhyme or reason to suffering. This sense of injustice almost paralyzed me. I wanted to do everything in my power to protect her, but the enemy was invisible, untouchable. I reached a fork in the road. Would I let my sorrow and anger swallow me, or figure out how to go ahead with them in tow? What I realized is that we all come to this crossroads eventually, when pain threatens to define us. I'd faced hard times before, but nothing compared to this. The anxiety, the inability to sleep, the health issues, everything formed a storm that made me want to escape. But here's the shock. Real growth lies in facing the darkness you're desperate to avoid. In order to go ahead, I had to stop running and start feeling. There's a saying, visit the darkness willingly, or the darkness will visit you and never leave. For me, learning how to go ahead meant looking directly at what hurt most. I discovered that emotions, even the ugliest ones like anger, are energy in motion. You can let them run your life, or you can learn to channel that energy, transforming agony into action. My first step in going ahead was to accept that all the sorrow and rage existed, instead of hiding or numbing it away. That meant crying when I needed to, opening up deeper conversations with my mum, and letting myself grieve openly rather than pretending everything was okay. Over time, making space for these hard feelings gave me unexpected strength. I found I could use the pain as fuel, energy, to start becoming the person I always thought I could be. Even now, I stumble more often than not. Most days still feel like a fight to simply keep moving. But the biggest part of learning how to go ahead is just that, sitting with the discomfort rather than fleeing from it. If you're still with me, I hope you're finding some value in what I'm sharing. If you are, could you take a second to like this video and let me know in the comments what struggle you're facing or what helps you keep going? Let's help each other. Truth number 2, happiness is a flawed goal. For years I chased happiness, and it was always just out of reach. I realize that happiness comes and goes, often depending on things I can't control. But my energy, mental and physical, became the real foundation for how to go ahead. Flooded with constant stress, my health deteriorated, which only made everything feel worse. It sounds basic, but when I began to prioritize my health, sleep, nutrition, daily movement, cutting back on drinking, my capacity to go ahead increased tenfold. And it's funny, because when everything feels like it's collapsing, the last thing you think about is cooking a healthy meal or going for a run. But those small, steady actions became proof that I was still alive, still moving. They weren't just about health. They were about hope. Here's another shocking discovery. We all have 1,000 problems until we get sick. At that point, suddenly there's only one. Health needs to be the backbone of any attempt to go ahead. And while not every tool or resource is accessible to everyone, even simple preventive steps, drinking more water, walking daily, checking in with your body, can make a massive difference. Protect your health like your future depends on it, because it does. At the halfway point in my journey, another truth emerged. Isolation only makes the pain heavier. I've always been the let me fix it myself type, retreating until I felt strong enough to rejoin my friends or family. That didn't work when the darkness was overwhelming. My friends and family refused to let me disappear. They dragged me into the light, reminding me that it's okay to be sad, broken, or lost. Humans thrive in tribes for a reason. We aren't built to face the storm alone. I had to learn that asking for help is not weak. Being honest about where I was, admitting that I needed support, was a sign of strength. The hardest step in how to go ahead sometimes is just learning to let others carry you when you can't walk on your own. And strangely enough, letting people in also gave them permission to share their struggles too. Pain connects us as much as joy does. If you're still watching and you haven't already, take a second to like, subscribe, or drop a comment about how you've found your way forward through hard times. Your courage might inspire someone else right now. My mother always told me, one step at a time. That advice has never meant more to me than it does now. I used to want to plan for years ahead, to see every possible route mapped out. But when the path disappears in front of you, when all you see is fog, the only way to go ahead is to take the next best step, no matter how small. That next step could be as simple as getting out of bed, calling a friend, journaling your feelings, or just taking a deep breath. We rebuild from the dust, one brick, one quiet act of courage at a time. And while grief doesn't necessarily vanish, it can awaken something new, a creative spark I never expected. My mum's life and her encouragement keep fueling my drive to say yes to life beyond heartbreak. Her legacy is felt every time I make a bold choice or share a story that might help even one other person go ahead through their own darkness. Another lesson I learned is that grief isn't a straight line. It's a cycle. You think you've moved forward, then a song, a smell, a memory pulls you back. At first, I saw those moments as setbacks, but with time, I realized they were reminders, proof of love, proof of connection. To go ahead isn't to erase the past, it's to carry it differently, to let it live alongside you without crushing you. I know many watching this have experienced loss, or may be facing that right now. Odd as it sounds, people have stopped me on the street, sharing stories of their own grief, and told me that watching these videos gave them hope. In those moments, I realized none of us are as alone as we think. The simple act of sharing your journey, the aching, unfinished mess of it, can be more valuable than you'll ever know. If you're longing for connection or support, I'm even thinking of hosting a live call so we can talk openly, support each other, and figure out together how to go ahead. Life's too confusing, too painful to try to do it alone. Even as I move forward and resume more travel and adventure-focused content, I want this space to always be a refuge for those struggling to go ahead, to let us learn, heal, and grow together. Thank you for being part of the Growth Mindset Project. If you found this helpful, check out the other videos on our channel. Don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss an episode on how to go ahead no matter what life throws your way.